Uh, Hi guys. So this video, in this video, we're gonna yeah. So in this video, we're gonna um try and implement, or maybe first of all, we're gonna learn like the iOS reverse engineering, and yeah, let's see. I mean, yeah, and then also, let's just see. I hope this is not uh like an issue if I just watch this video over a stream. This is one of the YouTuber that I follow, and she is like wireless. She is into wireless security, hardware hacking, iOS, Frida, and a lot of other things as well. And like I love how she uh, presents things, and it's very interesting of how she works around the things. So I'm gonna just go over. She has 3 or 4 videos explaining iOS reverse engineering, and then like this is part of a workshop that she took like 3 years back. So I'm gonna go into this and let's see how it goes. Uh, yeah, that's all for the intro. Let's just get started. Yeah, and then yeah, let's go ahead.
etc. But yeah, so that's the plan for it. All right, I think everyone is here, like 20 people watching this. That's really awesome. So let's get started. So the first part is about Frida and iOS basics. And well, usually if you would want to do something wireless, as most people here do, you have to use like all these super difficult tools. Like you have to read a specification, implement it. You have to use software-defined radios, which often means you have to use FPGAs. You need to reverse engineer undocumented protocols. You need to modify firmware. And if you cannot really modify it, or if you don't have too much of a debugging interface, or if you want to fuzz it, you might also want to emulate the firmware. So it's really a lot of work. And I'm a bit lazy, so I mean, basically, I know most of these things and how to do them, but still, instead, what I just do is I use Frida, which is basically writing JavaScript. I mean, for performance reasons, you could also write C code, but I will show you why I prefer JavaScript, at least for development. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what Frida is, I will start with some Frida basics. So the typical application of Frida that most of you should know is like the objection, for example, framework. So this one means that if you have a smartphone application and it has TLS certificate pinning or something, then you can swap out the certificate or you can dump iOS keychains or something. So this is stuff that's built there, and you can just readily use those tools. So it's really cool stuff, but it's not really what we are doing here. So we are not using the available Frida applications, but we want to do our own stuff because, yeah, there is no wireless research framework. There's nothing that's like built into Frida to do wireless. So you can think of it as follows. So you can or can.
The housewarming party is tomorrow, but the guests won't show up because Mr. Menon forgot the invites.
Not control something from a host, so you can define your own to wireless. So you can think of it as follows. So you can or cannot control something from a host, so you can define your own script that like loads a script into your target in Python. So even if we run the Frida tools like on macOS later on that I will show you, these are actually Python scripts that load some JavaScript into the target. But yeah, nonetheless, you might also want to react. So if you want to fuzz your target or something, you want to have a Python script that generates something, and Python is easy to develop. And then on the iOS target process, there will be some magic, and then there will be code that actually runs on iOS within the process. So that means within the smartphone application to swap out the certificate, or within the Bluetooth daemon to change messages sent and received by the Bluetooth daemon. So there's a ton of applications. You need to keep in mind that loading something into the target takes time, that sending something to the target over USB with JSON serialization takes time. So it's not always the best performance. And if instead you use C code and run locally on the iPhone, it's faster. But the principle is more or less the same. So I said you inject code into a running process, and Frida does this by library preloading or overloading libraries. And so what you have on iOS is the launch daemon. That's similar like to some init daemon or something. So whenever something starts, it would go via the launch daemon, and then you can say load a shared library into this. And yeah, that also might change a bit depending on the jailbreak that you're using. So you need to be on a rooted jailbroken iOS usually to do this. And for some jailbreaks, it doesn't work. So they might say, okay, you're not on the latest uncover version, so that's why it doesn't work. Instead, another thing that you can do if you're not jailbroken or rooted is you can modify your target application and put Frida into this. So this works for everything that you can install as an application. It will not work for wireless daemons. And what Frida then does is they start a new thread in the target process. So what also happens quite often is that in the target process, you would get a crash, for example, in the gum.js loop or Frida something. And this means that something in your code is wrong or that something in the Frida implementation is wrong. So that's just something that you need to understand. So when you get a crash, this can be due to how Frida tries to modify the target. So the first one that I'm now going to show you live is that you can do a Frida trace. So basically what Frida trace does is you can define a number of functions, including, let's say, a star if you want to have everything that just starts with a certain string. And then you can get information about this. So let's see. So let's keep fingers crossed that my iPhone is connected correctly. -u means I have a USB device, so I'm not tracing on my MacBook. And then I do something like minus decorate, -I, and now, I don't know, let's do something. I mean, I can do that as an example, and we still have to specify the process, so let's say the location daemon, it doesn't really matter. All right, and here we go. Let me scroll back. Okay, that's a lot. Maybe it wasn't the best idea to hook this one. Yeah, okay. So there's one interesting thing that you see here, which is here it actually says like we have the Objective-C message something, and then it actually finds Objective-C message sent, but also others that start with this. And it's in the Foundation framework, so that's the public framework, I think, by Apple. And for some frameworks, there's documentation, and with the decorate, you would in addition like see the framework where this comes from. So you have an idea of like what is instrumented, and basically what it just did is it rewrote some code in the beginning of each of those functions to print this. And so everything that I said here, the -I is from shared library. So there's a DYLD shared cache on iOS, and in there, all these things are defined. And now there's the next thing. I will probably show that a bit later with the Objective-C stuff, but basically something that I didn't know in the very beginning is if you attach JavaScript with this command, so you have your script that you inject, every time you save the script and like it's saved, so that's a file system operation, Frida would recognize that the file changed and re-inject it or like change it. So that's super, super nice for development. Like you can actually open Frida, write some code and type it live, and everything that worked, you can copy paste into the file that is open. So because even if you call Frida like without a script, how does that look like? Do I need to no pause? Oh, that works already. So I don't know. I can now say whatever. So I'm already attached, and process dot what does it have? Info. No, it already. So I'm in this process, and I can now do stuff in the process, and it prints what I just did. And so I can like test something live in here and also attach JavaScript and then load global variables, functions, everything, and modify that on the fly. So that's usually how I use Frida. And there's even a super, super cool demo that you really have to watch by Travis from Project Zero. And he has a demo where he uses the Chrome developer tools because it's JavaScript, so you can also use Chrome dev tools. And he's then re-instrumenting some Simpsons game. So he's like live coding.
Guys, it will need to stop the stream. I've got some work, urgent work. Uh, the production code is like I'm having issues with that, so I'm very sorry. We just only started this for 10 minutes, but yeah, or maybe, but I don't. I mean, yeah, let's not do it. Let's not do it. Yeah. Okay. Ciao, ciao. Peace. We'll learn this sometime later on, and yeah, this is very interesting. I feel Frida is very good. So yeah, peace. Bye bye.